The day after my 21st birthday, May 5th, 2020, the year that I should have been competing in the Tokyo Olympics, that same friend who offered me marijuana and mushrooms offered me meth. And from that moment forward, he became more than just my friend, he became my dealer. And I remember exactly how that first hit made me feel. That something that was missing was finally whole. And at that moment, I was addicted. Everything important in my life was put on the back burner, and my entire focus was meth from that moment forward. I dropped out of school. My boyfriend of 3 years broke up with me over text, and I didn't bat an eye. I never went home to see my family. I hardly communicated with them, but none of that mattered to me because life was good and I was finally happy again. Those feelings were gone, or so I thought. I started to put my job on the back burner as well because working all day was taking away from how much I could and wanted to use. Meth controlled everything I did, every thought I had. The lies caught up with me and I lost my job. But honestly, it didn't bother me, it didn't matter to me. That just meant that I could use more meth throughout the day and move closer to my dealer. I had to steal in order to survive. I'd sneak into hotels in the morning for breakfast and load up on food for lunch. I'd shower at the Planet Fitness during the day. And this was my new way of life, and honestly, I didn't care. I acted as though this was normal. It wasn't until I started to get involved with the cops that I started to care. I found myself on the run from the cops often, actually. Late one night, I got into a fight with my dealer, and it turned physical pretty quickly, and he tried to run me over. In an attempt to stop him, I punched out his back windshield, and I found myself crying and sitting on the curb in the middle of a pile of shattered glass, in the middle of the night, blood running down my arms, and 4 cop cars surrounding me. I felt lost, I felt angry, I felt scared, and I felt small. And it was at this point that something finally started to break inside of me as I tried to purchase a Dr. Pepper with what was literally my last 88 cents. I remember this moment as if it happened yesterday. It was 2 a.m. I'd been running from the cops again, scared that they were gonna take me to jail because they told me they would if they caught me again. I was exhausted, and I walked into the Maverick, and I filled my cup up with Dr. Pepper at the fountain, and I walked up to the cashier. And I emptied my pockets with change, and I started to count out the biggest coins first. I had a few dimes and a few nickels, and then the remainder of the 88 cents was gonna be mostly pennies, and I started counting on the pennies, and she stopped me and she said she would cover the rest of my drink. And beyond grateful, I thanked her as my eyes filled with tears. A few minutes down the road, I finally took a drink of soda, only to find that it was just carbonated water. And I started to sob and sob and sob and sob. And for whatever reason, that was it. That was the moment that I knew I was at rock bottom. And in the darkness of that night, a light finally came on. And I finally realized that it was time for me to get clean. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired all the time. I was sick and tired of living out of a storage unit, and I was sick of showering at a gym. I didn't like the way that my life, what it had turned into. And on July 24th, 2021, I used meth for the last time. I needed help, and I wanted to go home, and I didn't want to feel this way anymore. I called my mom for the first time in 6 months. I called her and I said, "Mom, I want to come home. I need help." And she said, "Okay, come home. We can help you." And I said, "Mom, you don't understand. I don't have a single penny to my name, and I'm over an hour away from home. I can't get there." So she told me to stay put, and she called my dad, and by some small miracle, he was working less than 5 minutes away from where I was. They both hugged me, and they told me that everything was gonna be okay. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt hopeful, and I felt safe. I don't know how long it had been since I had felt safe. I found a sobriety chip that reads, "One day at a time" on the front. It has a dragonfly on it. And dragonflies symbolize our ability to overcome times of hardship. When I woke up the next morning, first thing I saw perched on a picnic table was a dragonfly. It was time for me to put in the work. The cravings were powerful, and I believed that I needed meth to make it through the rest of the day and these feelings. And as I struggled through these thoughts, sitting on the curb, I pulled that dragonfly chip out of my pocket. I have the strength to overcome this hardship. I will overcome this hardship. And I didn't use that day. So now, with over 21 months clean, I found a beautiful life, love, and support system, and an entire community that fills my heart with purpose and joy. I participate in recovery groups and organizations that offer support and strength as I fight for my sobriety. I get the opportunity to work my dream job at Recovering Addict, where we help recovering addicts achieve long-term sobriety and heal their body, mind, relationships, and spirit. I know the darkness. I know the loneliness and the anger. I know the pain and suffering, but today, and I hope forever, I know the other side. Addiction is very real, but recovery is very possible, and with some serious hard work, life really does get better.